So I'd always been, I guess you could say, artistically inclined ever since I was younger, man. I'd always loved art, and ever since I could, draw on something or kind of had an introduction to art in the world I saw around me, I started to really kind of hone in on artistic ability. And when you're younger, man, you don't understand the ideology or the concept of permanence. So, my grandfather had tattoos from the war and everything like that. So when you see those, you're kind of like, man, that's crazy. Like, does he put those on every day, man? Do those rub off or anything or what? And then you start to notice more people. You see that biker with the cut off sleeves at the grocery store, the lady with the rose on her boob or like on her leg. And you're like, wait a second, like my grandfather isn't just the only one that has these. There's people that have this. But as a young kid, people aren't going to be like, oh, you should be a tattoo artist, especially because me being born in the 90s, man, not saying it was frowned upon, but that's pretty much what the dichotomy was. Like, you were a biker or like, that's who had tattoos. So somebody's not going to be like, oh yeah, you should do tattoos and hang out with a bunch of bikers and lowlifes. Nobody's going to tell you to do that. So I always did well in school, man. I was always that kid who had a, willingness to learn and, wanted to soak up every little bit of piece of information around me. So when I graduated, later on down the road after college and everything, I went to school for graphic design in Philadelphia. Later on down the road, man, I was working jobs that, I worked at a manufacturing plant that manufactured PTFE for DuPont and all of that, making good money, but it's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life while doing like design work on the side. I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life, man. So while I was started getting tattooed more heavily at a shop called Trademark Tattoo, I was getting tattooed by guy Eric Marcinis and Steve Guerin, who's actually Damian Guerin, my business partner, and the owner of Trademark, one of the owners besides BJ Beth's shop. Wow. I started getting tattooed by Steve, and then it came to be that we started living together, man. And we would talk about tattoos. Steve knew that, I was always about art and drawing, and we'd have conversations. But I'm not that type of person that's gonna be like, yo, teach me how to tattoo, bro. Because those old familiar feelings of wanting to tattoo growing up, man, those came back to me. So I was like, I didn't want to be that guy, because I'm sure he gets it all the time. Yo, man, teach me how to tattoo. Teach me how to tattoo. I want to learn how to tattoo. I've been wanting to do this my whole life. I didn't want to sound like that guy. So what did I do? I got some equipment on my own, started tattooing my friends. A couple tattoos here and there. Didn't really get what I wanted, the results I wanted, because I thought it was going to be easier than it looked, man, really. So,
everyone does.
Oh, 100%. So what I did was do a couple tattoos, kitchen magician style. Yeah. So how a lot of people start. And
people start that way.
So I noticed that I really wanted to take it serious, and I kind of put down the machine and was like, man, I really want to take it serious. Like, in my own mind, like, I have to get to a certain level, and I'm not going to get that by just doing this, by messing my friend's skin up and not really know how to tune machines, anything like that. I was kind of trying to make it on my own. One day, Steve texted me. I guess he saw that I was serious about it. He's like, hey man, you want to learn how to tattoo for real?
Oh, wow.
And that was that. And I hold Steve Guerin and who actually introduced me as dad, Damian, in high regards, because that's where I got my start. It's not easy to push into this industry, bro. It really isn't, man. This is a cutthroat industry, and there's great artists that are being bred every single day. And with it being so cutthroat and so high demand, I knew that I wanted to take it to the next level and actually learn how to tattoo for real. So Steve introduced me to his dad, and his dad got me started, and here I am now. The first shop I worked at was I started tattooing in 2013. The first shop I worked at was Standard Steel. Damian Guerin owned that shop. It was outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he was like, hey man, get your feet wet, sink or swim. Let's see if you're really about it. And I had to pay a lot of dues, man. Was working there, came back around, worked in Maryland for a little bit, worked in Damian's shop, Sacred Heart, out in Atlanta, travel. He was like, hey man, I need you here. I picked up everything I had, man, at that time, because I owed it to him. Like, the debt's never repaid, bro. When someone gives you this, gives you a life, basically, and gives you a career that you can build and, work and progress in and get to the top of, you owe them your life. You owe them your life, bro. The debt is never repaid. Same thing with Steve for introducing me to his dad. The debt will never be repaid, man. These guys, I hold these guys in high regard. So, after that, after working at Sacred Heart, Damian said, I need you back around at the home shop at Trademark back in Delaware, where I'm from. And, here we are now. I've been working at Trademark for a while. Also doing, a lot of traveling with other owner of the shop, BJ Betts. You know, I'm sure he needs no introduction. I'm sure everybody that's listening right now knows who BJ Betts is. If you don't, you better pick up a fucking book or one of his books. That's my little publicity right there. Go buy one of BJ's books right now. Sign up for his lettering seminar. Awesome dude, super down to earth guy, man. Great tattoo artist. Not just lettering, man. He can do everything. And that brings me to my next point. When I started tattooing, I wanted to do everything. And that's why I hold these guys in high regards and, you know, look up to these guys because they can do everything. You know, not just lettering. BJ, it's endless. He can do everything, man, and do it very well. The technical aspect of what he does is phenomenal. And that's the thing, man. BJ, he is an artist. You know, he started doing design work, illustrative work, doing, you know, typography, all that kind of stuff, and it led him to where he is now. And yeah, he's worked hard for it, man. Same thing with Damien, you know, both owners of the shop, they've paid their fucking dues. They've put in a lot of time, man. They really have. And, you know, I can't do anything but respect that and, you know, admire that because that's where I get my work ethic from. That's where I get my drive from. I feed off of that. And, you know, it's crazy because that's where I'm in right now. And it's, you know, because of these guys, you know, traveling with BJ, Damien, you know, opening up all these doors, same thing with him. I mean, I'm very fortunate for where I am. And that's why I hold these people in high regards. I feel like, especially nowadays, you know, people forget where they come from. Nobody's humble anymore, man. Everybody's after it for themselves. And at the end of the day, you have to really take a step back and know that everybody came from somewhere and you didn't do it on your own. Let's put it this way, and this is what I tell a lot of clients, you know, they're asking me like, oh, tattooing, blah, 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 you know. At the end of the day, we're not a doctor, we're not curing cancer, you know, we're not coming up with these medical breakthroughs. All we're doing is putting tattoos on people, but we're making people's lives more manageable through self-expression. Sometimes that's just as good as saving their life because they deeply want to express themselves in this day and age, especially. Everybody wants to deeply express themselves, and what better way to express it than on their skin or like show people like this is who I am. You know, they feel comfortable. You know, you can change someone's life just by a tattoo.